Welcome to the 10th annual Best of the Northwest Video Festival. Coming to you live April 4th from CCTV. Now let's get ready to rumble and welcome your host, Alan Bushong.
All across America, growing numbers of folks are putting the powerful tool of television to good use in their communities. Local communities are gaining an unprecedented presence on television as government meetings, high school sports, educational programs, and nonprofit service information appear in the living room of cable subscribers. This unique and valuable programming is growing at the same time ownership and control of commercial media is being centralized in the hands of a few giant corporations whose purpose is to drive up profits for their shareholders. My name is Alan Bushong. I'm Executive Director of Capital Community Television here in Salem. I'm chair of the Alliance for Community Media, I am proud to say, and I want to welcome you to the 10th annual Best of the Northwest Video Festival, sponsored by the Northwest region of the Alliance for Community Media. In this festival, we recognize excellence in 28 categories, with an emphasis on the power of the message and the impact the program has on the community. Too few of us realize the increasing degree to which corporate commercial television is shaping our culture. Corporate commercial television tells us who is beautiful, what is funny, who is good, and who is unsafe. For instance, even though violent crime has fallen for 6 consecutive years, violence on television has increased, and people believe America is more violent and less safe than in any recent time. We all know that community television is different. Community TV, or community access, is about building communities, building dialogue, building relationships, about finding common ground. And as our regional conference that we're conducting right now, it's about solidarity. And community TV in our part of the world, the Pacific Northwest and the Western Canadian provinces, is changing our local communities for the better. I'm going to turn the show now over to the real pros, the people who, as long as I can remember, at least back to 1992 in Ashland, have been the co-hosts of this program, who've done such a tremendous job, and who I think enjoy the process just a little bit too much. So I hope you will join me in welcoming Deb Vinsel from Thurston Community TV in Olympia, Washington, and Pete Belcastro from Ashland.
Thank you.
We like that live TV. You
yeah, we're live.
Started.
We're on television.
Yeah.
Hey, and for our viewing audience, in case you've wondered how award recipients at award shows know what to do when they get there, we're going to tell you. When the clips are being shown on the screen here in the auditorium, the viewers at home will be seeing them. We're asking that the recipients of the award please make their way up here to the podium. After the clip is shown, you'll have an opportunity to say some comments about your program. Now, normally, those instructions would have been given before the big hand hit the 12, but we didn't have that opportunity, so now you know how it works.
202 entries.
202 entries.
5 states, 2 provinces, and we're delighted to be in Salem this year for our annual Northwest Regional Conference as it goes around the Northwest region. Last year it was Olympia, this year Salem, next year Longview, and we want to thank all the volunteers here at Capital Community Television for hosting this conference and putting on this live program. Well, if we do this right, we can do this in 2 hours. We're hoping.
Oh, I think we could do it in less than that.
All right, we'll see. Want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Our first category is community involvement. Community involvement is actually a group video barn raising to do something for the community. There are 3 recipients in this category. The first recipient is Flood in the Nile Valley, 1996, by Eileen Lenora McMurray of Yakima, Washington.
Watch it when it swings, when it drops.
There it goes. All right, it's coming.
All right. Capture. Okay. Pull, Nora. Okay, there you go. Okay. Okay.
Eileen was not able to be here with us tonight, so we will accept the award in her behalf. Our second recipient is A Neighborhood Healing, produced by Rosa Leonardi of Capital Community Television here in Salem, Oregon.
There were fights, there was noise all night long, there was drinking.
There was drug activity here, there were fights, people being beaten by baseball bats. There was always the crash of glass, the screams of women and children. We really didn't know what in the world was taking place at any point in time. There was so much hostility among the people that were here. We felt that we would be sucked up into violence, and eventually, we'd be in a position where we became part of the body count.
And then, of course, this awful event happened of the throwing of the firebomb into the basement apartment. And that really did bring it to a horrible conclusion.
Thank you all so very much. And as my 9-year-old niece, Rachel, would say, cool. I want to share this great honor with the people that helped make it happen. The Northeast Neighborhood Association for fixing up the old house, my husband Bruno, my dear friends MJ Boscacci and Raymond Dukes, and my mentors, Liz Olmsted, Mig Archie, and Alan Bushong. And thank you all very much.
The final recipient in this category is The Making of the Fabric of Life theme song by Manasher Nuri from Multnomah Community Television in Gresham, Oregon.
A project like this, it breaks it down all to basics, and we take people who are maybe not professionals, we take amateurs, professionals, whoever is interested, whoever has the heart, and we become involved. And the thing that's so good about it is that it reminds you from whence you came and where you're going. And we have control over that if we try, if we really try and change it.
Every year, a group of people get together to raise funds to help the AIDS Foundation. And this year, they gathered a bunch of artists to come up with a theme song for that event. And the name of the song was Fabric of Life. And to promote their cause, I got involved and I produced this video for them before the actual event. And they raised about over $3 million that year.
We want to acknowledge that we have 12 community access channels around the region have stepped forward over the last few years and have sponsored categories, and community involvement was sponsored by our good friends at Multnomah Community Television in Gresham. We thank them very much. The next category is human understanding. Is the fingerprint of your neighborhood or the unique identity of a community member? One award has been given in this category. It is called Reproductive Technologies and the Need for Boundaries. Producer is Eva Manley, host Brad Newcomb, guest Patricia Baird from Rogers Cable in Vancouver, BC.
More important is about 4 out of 10 babies that are born after IVF are the part of a multiple gestation, that is twins or triplets. They're more likely to be born early, to be born too soon, be premature, be low birth weight. So you have all the intensive care nursery experience that has to be paid for. There are more complications and health problems for those kids, so that they're likely to do less well in school, have ongoing chronic medical problems than the average child. So what is happening is that the profits for providing IVF to people on demand, as it were, are being privatized, and the costs are being socialized. That the publicly supported healthcare system has to pick up the care for all those consequences.
But I am obviously not Eva Manley. My name is Ed McCurdy, and you might remember me from such community access shows as, anyway, thanks a lot. We're from the land of the ice and snow, and appreciate it a lot. Thanks to the Alliance.
And I think we're going to see you a lot, picking up the categories from from the folks in Vancouver. Next category is targeted audiences. It offers an opportunity to focus our spotlight on one of the many community interests. 4 awards of excellence in this category. The first one is called Outlook, producer by Michael P. Keating from Rogers Community TV in Vancouver, BC.
The butterflies build as the show approaches, but there's still time to share a beauty tip with another contestant.
Blush here, okay, or something like that, and it'll highlight that muscle for you. You won't have to.
We'll show more beauty secrets later, but now highlights of the show. Here is Candy in the tool belt category with a rough and ready on song.
On behalf of Michael Keeping and Vancouver, BC, thank you.
Next winner, Award of Excellence in Targeted Audiences, is Noticias de la Comunidad Latina. Producer is Patricia Leahy from Multnomah Community Television in Gresham, Oregon.
Pero yo pensaba, sé que la mayoría de la comunidad hispana de aquí de Oregon es mexicana. Cuando oí eso, pensé como que quizá no iba a tener mucha acogida, o si fuera un grupo de quebraditas, ranchera o algo así, pero latinoamericano. Hay tantos latinoamericanos aquí como para poder mantener un conjunto activo.
Pues sí, a nosotros nos siguen una buena mezcla de venezolanos, panameños, cubanos.
Y mexicanos
colombianos,
también.
Mexicanos muchísimo, 100%, sí. Siempre nos han apoyado bastante. ¿Sí? Y los americanos, ahora mismo hay, yo diría el 40% de la audiencia que viene a vernos son americanos que están aprendiendo a bailar salsa y merengue,
Wow, pues se está poniendo buena la cosa.
Sí.
Me encanta eso, oír que los americanos les interese nuestra música, nuestros bailes y demás.
This award goes to all the volunteers on Noticias de la Comunidad Latina and all the crew who see this as something to contribute towards, who have lots of fun on the set, and also some volunteers that work on Noticias and don't even know the language, and yet they come. They don't have no idea what they're talking about, but they enjoy contributing to this and learning some skills. Also, I'd like to show my appreciation and thank the volunteer hosts, Santiago Espinoza, Nelly Rodriguez, and Rosario Hall. They have gone out and continue to bring out the best in the guests that are on the show. They put their heart into finding issues in the community, artists, news, and cultural differences within that community that fairly represent the Spanish-speaking viewers. I also would like to thank Chris Steele, who's contributed very much, a producer there at Multnomah Community Television, who has put a lot of effort into the quality of the show. Again, the volunteers and also the interns. And it's a special joy to me to get to know this culture. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say to all the folks, all the viewers that are watching, keep supporting community television. Thank you.
You know, one of the unique things about community media is that Patty has made the show available to a number of access channels around the state, and I know we run that in the Medford-Ashland area, and we thank Patty for, providing that program. Next one in targeted audience, the Award of Excellence goes to Washington County Review, Juvenile Justice. Producer is Mark Ivanish and Walt Peck from Tualatin Valley Community Access in Beaverton.
My husband and I would go to bed at night wondering who would be knocking on our door in the middle of the night, telling us about our son, or if there would be a policeman there, or, what he would be doing out. We had no idea.
Chris Nickel has been the source of many a sleepless night for his parents. Problems with drugs, alcohol, and a hot temper have resulted in 2 referrals by local law enforcement to the Washington County Juvenile Department. The latest incident saw Chris charged with a felony assault for the beating of another high school student.
It's not anything I can justify. It was just a stupid action I did.
Because of the seriousness of his offense, Chris was placed on home detention while awaiting trial.
Thank you. I want to thank most of all the families of the juveniles who let us into their homes and made this program possible, telling their stories. I want to thank Paula Manley, our executive director, and I want to thank Walt Peck, Charlie Cameron from Washington County. They came up with a concept which is kind of novel, reintegrating community and government, and that's what Washington County Review is all about. Thanks.
Final award in targeted audiences is program Forio Alberto, producer by Manuel Castaneda from Tualatin Valley Community Access in Beaverton.
¿Qué impacto tendrá esta ley de reforma, verdad? Sobre todo en un medio ambiente socio y político tan pesado como el que está ahorita, ¿verdad? Entonces va a ser un proceso educativo para poder comunicar a la comunidad de los cambios, de sus derechos, lo que pueden, no pueden hacer, lo que se necesita hacer inmediatamente, lo que se puede hacer a la larga, ¿verdad? Pero va a ser un proceso basado en el cual todos en la comunidad, a nivel estatal, en el estado de Oregón, tendremos que aportar y participar para poder ayudar a la comunidad, ¿verdad? Y que el impacto sea lo menor posible, porque obviamente, ¿verdad? Inmediatamente sale el tema de discriminación.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of Manuel, who couldn't make it here tonight, and I'd just like to say thank you to all the volunteers and participants on Foro Abierto and TVCA. Thank you.
The next category is original teleplay, and Ellen Bouchon will award those honors.
Thanks, Pete. Original teleplay allows us to create our own stage for an original drama or comedy. And think about that, writing your own original drama or comedy. And the recipients are Tall Tales of the Mekong Delta, Kevin Hadeen from Rogue Valley Community Access in Ashland.
Sure you don't want to smoke? I mean, one ain't gonna kill you, you know? Look, I know those people at that meeting mean well and all, but it doesn't hurt to be a bad girl once in a while. I mean, if you want to smoke, have a smoke. You want to drink, have a drink. You want an occasional snort just to unwind, it's okay. Being stone cold sober is just as bad as being a full-blown junkie. I mean, hell, those people know. I mean, I know. I've been through those meetings more times than I care to remember, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's to be moderate. Whatever you want, I'll get it.
Hi, my name is Joe Brett. I'm the Associate Director of RVTV and accepting on behalf of Kevin. First off, I'd like to tell you, Kevin's one of our Southern Oregon State College students, and this is the results of some very hard work in our broadcast program at SOSC in conjunction with RVTV. And as a member of the faculty, along with Pete Belcastro and Mark Chilcote, our academic coordinator, we'd like to thank the Alliance. This continues a record of success for our students to receive Best of the Northwest awards, and it really validates their work and their learning, and we appreciate that support very much. Kevin would also, for the record, like to thank David Anderson, Matt Liam Tico, Alex Robertson, Steve Sauer, Jesse Trench, Philip Young, and Katie O'Grady for their assistance in putting that production together. Thanks very much.
Our second recipient in this category is for Psychic Samantha Tells the Future, produced by Martha Lovell and Don LaGrossa from Tualatin Valley Community Access in Beaverton, Oregon.
Quiet, please. Psychic Samantha will now attempt levitation of the spoons.
And now my powers, here we go. Concentration, concentration. Lift, arise. Oh, they're heavy. Arise. Come on. Come on.
Thank you. Martha couldn't make it here tonight because she just left for Europe the other day, and she's actually scouting out some locations for the next installment of Psychic Samantha, so thank you.
Before going any further, I should mention that we're going live tonight out of the Al Laux Lecture Hall in the Salem Public Library. And the Salem Public Library is truly one of the treasures of our community, and we're privileged to be coming live to you from this great facility this evening. Thank you. Our next category is shorts. This is kind of the Ed Sullivan of community TV, all kinds of variety. The only criteria is that it's a short program. And for those of us who manage channels, these are precious to us because programs of different length, these allow us to complete our programming schedule. And our first recipient in shorts is For a Dying Breed, produced by Ben Cornish from Tualatin Valley Community Access in Beaverton, Oregon.
It's a lot of camaraderie here. It really is. It's been for, since I know, 30 years, I don't know. A lot of camaraderie in this place, and a lot of good friends meet here, and we argue. Sometimes Hogue will get mad at me, Henry, or get mad at so-and-so, and they use that F word, him, but it's good camaraderie here.
Thank you. I actually did do this one, and I'd just like to thank Hugo Duderstadt, who was featured in the film, and he recently passed away. And also my father, I'd like to dedicate this to him. Thank you.
Our next recipient in the category of shorts is The Bottom Line, produced by the Environmental Youth Alliance in Vancouver and the Vancouver East Neighborhood Association in Rogers Cablevision, Vancouver, British Columbia.
A wonderful example of the effect of community activism is the Cottonwood Gardens. This garden is an amazing place, a haven in the midst of our bustling city. Nestled in this spot is the youth garden created by EYA, complete with vegetables, an orchard, and an indigenous plant area. By restoring a former dump site in 1991 into a productive, ecologically diverse public space, the Cottonwood Gardens has become a symbol of community empowerment.
On behalf of the Youth Alliance, I thank you. I'm just going to mention this once tonight. The Van East studio has had its umbilical cord cut by Rogers. We are surviving now on our own as an independent station. We've had our van taken away, and things are touch and go. But when you see stuff that's produced at Van East tonight, just remember that we've had our umbilical cord cut. Thank you.
When I hear news like that, I never know whether to clap because I feel so good for the person receiving the award or mourn for the fact that people in a community are losing a valuable resource. The next recipient in this category is For My Generation, produced by Steve Schrock and Ben Drake with TCI in Seattle, Washington.
We've driven the price of a house right out of the American dream, worn out the nation's infrastructure by overusing it. We've overburdened the healthcare system with our now aging, pampered, and therefore susceptible bodies, and we're about to put Social Security out of business. In return for all this special attention, we bitch about our taxes now that we have to assume our share of the responsibility, and we have the gall to blame the national debt on welfare mothers after the most privileged among us soaked up all the good jobs.
Steve couldn't be here tonight because he is, in fact, just about to go live at TCI in Seattle doing a Friday night show. So I'm here to accept it on his behalf and to say, don't give up on TV for art. No matter what the internet brings, don't give up on public access. Thanks.
Our next category is Video as Art. And this is using technology to do such things as transform pocket protectors to paintbrushes. We have a sponsor for this category, and once again, one of our many community centers, media centers in the region. And this one is KLTV from Kelso Longview in Washington. We have 2 recipients in this category, and the first is for Open Spaces number 6, produced by Richard K. Ostheimer with Missoula Community Access TV in Missoula, Montana.
I'd like to thank all of the access directors and all of the staff people that really make it possible for an artist like me to walk off the street and create something like this. I've been a musician for 20 years, but I touched a video camera for the first time 3 years ago. And it's really an honor to have it a privilege to, as a member of the community, just walk in and do something like that. Thank you.
And our final recipient in this category is for Reality Check, produced by Will Snodgrass, also from Missoula Community Access TV, and I will say the beautiful city of Missoula, Montana.
I'm not Will Snodgrass, but I play him on TV. Nice technology, the fax machine. Will has this to say: art is a reflection of reality. Reality does not deceive. In all its forms, art may reflect beauty and forces which society may choose to otherwise ignore. Such is the nature of art, which transcends human denial amidst undeniable reality. Artists James Ayers, Peter Gordienko, and Octavio Acampas are courageous visionaries whose images compose the video Reality Check. Without their vision and work, the video would not exist. I wish to express my thanks to these artists and dedicate this award to those spirits of truth who illuminate for others realities which many might otherwise choose not to see. Chief among the spirits, we should not forget Cesar Chavez, whose many faces Acampas has painted for us to see and whom Ayers and Gordienko would recognize among us. Thanks.
And now it's time to turn back over to the Best of Northwest Pro, Deb.
It is a distinct pleasure for me to be able to introduce the next presenter. They say that really good things are born of passion, and you can say that about her passion for community media, because I have the privilege of being the executive director of the organization that was born from her passion for community television. Our next presenter is Carol Burns, the founder of Thurston Community Television in Olympia, Washington.
It's my pleasure to present the awards in the environment category. Producers in this category certainly exemplify the type of activism that we are showcasing in this conference. Environmental programs are sponsored in this category in the awards by Tualatin Valley Community Access. There are 3 winners in the environment category, which explores balanced living through the window of nature. The first is El Columbia Slough by Patricia Leahy of Multnomah Community TV.
Es recomendable que hagan eso, de donde sea el pescado. Pero ese, yo insisto, aunque dicen que se puede comer, no se coman ese pescado, si hay tanto pescado en otros sitios, ¿para qué comerse ese?
Y como decíamos, el PCB famoso, pienso que son pocos los lugares en los que no se va a encontrar el PCB. Lugares muy remotos, en Alaska, en el Polo Norte, inclusive aquí en Oregon, muy pocos lugares en donde va a encontrar pescado usted libre de cualquier contaminante. Siempre va a tener algo. Entonces, realmente hay que estar pendientes. Este PCB se acumula en los órganos, en los órganos internos.
Principalmente.
O en la grasa, ¿verdad? El filete es por eso que usted dices tú, Nelly, es muy cierto, ¿verdad? Trate de comer el filete, no coma los órganos internos para que el riesgo sea menor, ¿verdad? Punto.
Okay. Thank you. The El Columbia Slough is a body of water that's quite stagnant. That's over by Gresham, Oregon. It's quite toxic, and it's got a lot of chemicals in it, industrial waste. And there are many people that fish there and eat the fish, swim and drink water, and don't know that. And many of those people that do use that are Spanish speakers, and so this is for them. I'd like to thank again Chris Steele for producing it, and also give credit to Sharon Janassi from Rainbow Video and Film Production for her footage from Not in My Backyard. Thank you.
The next award in this category is for Red Thunder, going to that environmental agitator Gene Bernofsky and Terry Jimerson from Missoula Community Access.
I don't know. That whole thing, it's as scary as a nuclear war. You know, this is our watershed, and you know, it all flows down. In fact, the water from the Bear Paws, the water from the runoff from the Bear Paws and the runoff from the Little Rockies comes right through our place, my folks' place, you know, that they bought, our ranch. And so there's no doubt in my mind, you know, that it affects us. It not only affects us through the water, it affects us through the air again, because, you know, this wind comes over the mountains and it blows the dust that way.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1,000 miles east of your beautiful seacoast, deep in a remote area of central Montana, north by the Canadian border, Pegasus Gold Corporation has reduced Spirit Mountain on the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation to a pile of toxic pebbles. The Missouri River has been polluted south, the Milk River north, and all of the water flowing across the reservation have been polluted. Genocide is occurring right now to the Assiniboine and the Gros Ventre living in that area. Why that is happening, why this genocide continues, I have no idea, but it's there. This is a story that the establishment media and the networks won't touch because they are ruled by the mining corps, big time, everywhere, all over the world. So I propose a corporate death sentence to irresponsible corporations in this country. And you should know that we need public access to get stories like this out. Thank you very much.
The next category is sponsored by YCTV and YPAC in Yakima, Washington. This. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, the next winner in the environmental category, Native Voices, by Courtney Scott and Ann Mitchell at Multnomah Community TV in Gresham.
This is Mother Earth. This whole thing is Mother Earth. Everything is in a circle. That's Mother Earth. And like Mother Earth has the North Pole and the South Pole, and there's the axis in the middle. So she's in balance herself. And so we as people belong to Mother Earth. When we die, we go back into Mother Earth. And so there's that connection there. We have to walk in balance with Mother Earth. We're part of it. She's a part of us. And we
I was somewhat surprised that we were receiving this award. I think that probably maybe the letter got lost in the mail or something, but I'm very pleased to receive it on behalf of Courtney and myself. This is Courtney's first project, and she'll be just thrilled to know that we received an award for it. And I also like to say that I learned a lot, and it's been a pleasure getting to know some of the Native Americans in our community. And because of this project, we're going to be going to Alaska to work on a video about salmon restoration this summer. So hopefully this will give Courtney the inspiration to continue in public access, and will encourage more Native Americans in our community to use this great resource. Thank you.
Okay, this next category is live programming, sponsored by YCTV and YPAC in Yakima, Washington. And this is the reward for people who took the one chance to get it right and did. The first winner is 121st Commencement Gold Ceremony, Timothy J. Lorang, UW Video Production, UW-TV, Seattle, Washington.
The diversity of this university is nearly as striking as its distinction, and the graduates today are completing academic courses of study which reflect the complexity of this society and the intellectual concerns of our faculty and students. I am honored, therefore, to be the first to congratulate formally the degree and award recipients and to welcome all of you to these ceremonies. These graduates should be very proud of themselves, and I know that all of the rest of us are very proud of them. It is appropriate, therefore, that we all stand up, everyone, including the graduates, and applaud the class of 1996.
Thank you. Thank you to the Alliance. And I'm really accepting this for Tim Lorang, who is one of our terrific producers at UW-TV. And it was interesting that we won for the gold ceremony, which actually follows the purple ceremony, which are both 3-hour long live events. And he was a mess after that, but he did a terrific job. So we'd like to congratulate the students and thank the University of Washington for making it possible to put this on television across the state so people who couldn't make it and watch their students graduate, that they could watch on television. Thank you.
This next award goes to Starborn, produced by Karen Campbell at Northwest Public Access in Seattle.
What does it mean for a Gemini? Oh, a Gemini is going to be so happy this year because Gemini rules fluctuation and change. And Geminis are very versatile, and they like doing two of everything. And so I think this is Gemini's year. The sky is the limit. They will have enough energy to do two things and succeed at both of them. So this is the year for Gemini to fly high. Now, if you're not a Gemini, stay tuned. I
want to thank all of you here for making me feel so welcome today and throughout the conference. I've truly enjoyed being here. And if it is true that you are the product of the company that you keep, then I want to say a special thank you to the production crew at TCI for their high level of professionalism and their continual support, and to my own crew who have been very loyal through 2,000 hours of preparation and 120 shows all going on live. And I particularly want to thank my audience. They're the people that tune in every week and call up and are very gracious and inspirational to me. Thanks again.
The next award goes to The Future is on Track, produced by Renee Klosterman by Washington Interactive TV. This is a government TV operation in Olympia, Washington.
For the past several years, governments and businesses have been working together to restore and dramatically improve intercity rail passenger service using existing rail lines. This partnership between public and private sectors has maximized passenger benefit while minimizing public cost. We've made cooperative investments to move people and freight safely and more quickly. And to make sure passengers have good transportation connections from the train station to where they want to go. The result has been a revitalized rail link between Vancouver, BC, Seattle, Washington, and Eugene, Oregon.
Washington Interactive Television is a Department of Information Services agency for the state of Washington, and they have found how important it is to utilize public educational and government access channels around the state of Washington to distribute the type of programming they do. It's a wonderful partnership that we have with them, and I'm pleased to accept this on their behalf.
The next award presenter will be George Stoney. George Stoney was my teacher when I was studying documentary film as a graduate student in about 1965. And he has been described on our program as the father of public access. But it's easy to misunderstand what this means because George Stoney did not start public access. The concept sprang up all over the country in all of the locations, fringe reception areas, where some people decided to go to the top of the nearest hill or the tallest building and put up an antenna to get better reception from a distant city. Well, once they were on cable, they discovered that they didn't need those bands in between. There were a lot of empty channels that could be used, and people all over the place, and I'm sure in many places where it's just been almost completely forgotten, people in one way or another persuaded the people with the community antenna to let them put some local programming on. So what George had begun to do is travel around the country and look at what people were doing and recognize how powerful and amazing this was, and the ways in which going back and forth between in a local community where people who see each other face to face also see each other on television. There's something very strange about that, that leads to a community, to good things in the community. So he traveled around with tapes, with boxes of tapes queued up, and he'd have all these little stories to tell. Here's a little piece of video from this little town, and here's what happened as a result. And here's another little piece of video, and here's what happened as a result. And everything he ever sees, any piece of video anybody ever shows him, the first thing he says is, "That's wonderful." And he means it. And by making a lot of people who, as a teacher, I experienced this as his student, but also many others who have been to one of his sessions where they've been invited to submit videos to show to him. The inspiration that he brings is a gift for believing in the miracle, the miraculous importance of everyone who sets out to use this medium as a communications tool. So here is George Stoney.
Thank you, Carol. The reason that I didn't want to make this presentation is because I knew I'd be up here and not be able to see what you're seeing. So I hope the winners will give me a chance to really look at not just a clip of their stuff, but all of their work. And Carol, I hope I can say honestly, that's wonderful. The first award goes for Within These Walls by Mary Balfe, Miriam Fogar, Chris McDonald, and Jill Stainsbury. And I apologize for ruining your names.
We are not all consumers of the mental health system. Anita describes herself as a survivor. And I, who am ending my days with some symptoms of tardive dyskinesia brought on by the pills, would describe myself as a recipient. We've all been called psychotic, which means a total break with reality, on which psychiatrists seem to have a corner.
Miriam isn't here to accept her award. I accept it on her behalf. She's the sister at the Van East, the mighty Van East studio. This is a documentary about the Riverdale Mental Institute, which is liberating people who stay there and putting them out onto Skid Row, where they supposedly have a better life. I'm glad that Miriam's doing work like this because you would not see it on the mainstream stations. I thank you all. I thank the Alliance. Thanks a lot.
The next is Working TV by Jules Fisher of Rogers, Vancouver East.
The Council of Canadians has been spearheading the fight against media concentration in Canada. Recently, it took the federal government's so-called Competition Bureau to court in a bid to oppose Conrad Black's takeover of the Southern newspaper chain. This takeover gives Black control of more than 60% of Canada's daily newspapers.
The Competition Bureau rubber-stamped it because they said, well, all we're really empowered to do is look at advertising revenues. Conrad Black can buy every paper in the country so long as they're sufficiently geographically separated that people can still, or advertisers can still have competition. Not equity, not diversity, not a concern about his replacing all of the local columnists with Barbara Amiel and Andrew Coyne across the country. So we are taking the government to court, basically, and we are using a charter argument to say that by not listening to the Canadian people, by not giving us a voice in this, the Canadian people's charter rights to freedom of the press and freedom of expression has been violated.
On behalf of Julius Fisher, thank you very, very much.
Final award goes to Death in the Hood by Latina Duke of Portland Cable Access in Portland, Oregon.
Doesn't take much. It's like somebody pouring gasoline on a floor, and you just pray that nobody comes by and lights a match. Well, the gasoline had been poured throughout this community because of economic disparities between this community and the rest of Portland, and because of a school system that didn't work, because of discrimination and racism. That's the social gasoline that had been poured on the floor. Gang activity that came into town was merely the spark that set it off in a way that it became visible.
As Portland, Oregon positions itself as a major player in the Pacific Rim, its youth population has experienced a rise in homicides among young men between 15 and 24 years of age.
She just tells me Latina Duke.
No, it's Lanita.
Lanita, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Fine.
He already apologized. But I want to thank the sponsors of this video. It's unfortunate that today, ironically, is the anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. And to do a documentary on youth violence in Portland, Oregon, where the African American population is about 6.1%, is really pitiful. It gave us as a community an opportunity to figure out what's going on in our neighborhoods, why were our children killing each other over reasons they felt were justified. So although I don't consider myself a Portland cable access producer, I did start there. And I just wanted to thank the access station, which we use as a playback channel, as well as the talent. We have one young woman who I sprung on her at the very last minute to come up here, but she didn't want to, so I have to respect that. I want to thank our clients, such as the Department of Juvenile Justice, who found out that a lot of the perpetrators committing crimes turned out to be victims. I want to thank Yon Youth Care Facility, the Private Industry Council, Multnomah County Violence Prevention, and the Private Industry Council for giving me the money to produce this. I think that's where cable access is evolving as they continue to cut the money. The problem for me as an independent producer is that when the access stations become a competitor, where does that leave independent producers like me? So I know the theme is solidarity, and that is just among the problems that access channels face. But I got much love for PCA, so thank you again.
A couple of years ago, the Best of the Northwest Video Awards changed the award that we give. And I just wanted to show you here, I can put it up here, exactly what the award is, and Deb can explain the symbolism that is on this award that is given out to our 66 awards of excellence for this year.
Right. The open palm on the award, as we diverge from the script and the directors are scrambling right now going, what are they doing?
It's live and we can do that.
Yeah, but we're in control because we're up here, see? Anyway, the open palm on the award struck me graphically when we were trying to redesign these, just as a wonderful image of the First Peoples of the greater Northwest. And I had the privilege of speaking with a couple of producers from Thurston Community Television who are of our native heritage, and they explained to me that the open palm has many symbols. One of them is it is a symbol of honor, it is a symbol of welcoming, and it is also a symbol of trust. And it seemed to me that those three values were values that we all cherish in our community centers. So the open palm became the symbol for the Best of the Northwest before I even really understood what it meant, but it struck us as being an appropriate thing.
And duplicates can be purchased.
A word from our sponsor. Now I need the script. Okay, moving right along. Our next presenter is Mig Archie. Mig has been a volunteer at Capital Community Television here in Salem for 6 years. In fact, she has been so involved and so important as a volunteer here at CCTV. She was recognized by the City of Salem as a distinguished volunteer. Please welcome Mig Archie.
Thank you. Performance or art. This category is a visual interpretation of music. And the awards for excellence in music videos are presented to, firstly, Rising Stars, Jason Webb, Fog City Productions, Northwest Access Center, Seattle. It's not a question. Yeah.
Just a bird in the sky. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jason Webb, and I'm the producer and director of the Rising Stars TV show, which would not exist except for public access and folks like yourself who contribute to their time as much as they can to our efforts as producers and directors. I would not be Fog City without my camera crew. My camera crew's with me. They do my work because I ask them to and because they have faith in me. This validates that faith because you, the community, and the Alliance for Community Media have all said, this is good. Thanks. We don't live in doubt anymore. I'd also like to thank TCI Cable of Seattle for giving me the opportunity, and I'd like to thank my program originator, Andrew Greenwald, for being my friend and having faith in us as a production company. God bless you all. I hope you have as much luck as I did this year.
We'd like to make a note that the category sponsor for music videos is Shooters. And the second award of excellence goes to Agua, Steve Swanson, Swan Video Productions, Community TV Center, Eugene, Oregon.
Won't you carry me, Agua?
Thank you. Thank you to my parents for the love and support. Thank you to my colleague, Michelle Novak, for her inspiration. Thank you to Jana Siegel and Fred Hirsch for their beautiful song, Agua. Thank you to the Alliance and Access Video for helping myself to do this type of programming. Thank you to, I'd like to thank the producers for choosing me based on my talent and not my market value. Good night.
Next category is Fun and Games, which is a program that is an entry in your community's leisure guide. And the first award goes to Spindlekin Stories, a storytelling series, The Tale Spinners, Claire Hodge, Vancouver, British Columbia.
I was reminded of my old home in Hazelton, where we had this crank-up machine with the loudspeaker, and all that music would come through. And my brother and I were on occasion were allowed to go in and crank up that machine and put a Caruso on. And out would come that magnificent voice of Caruso, even scaring the cows back in the pasture. But we enjoyed it immensely, and then
On behalf of Claire Hodge and Vancouver, BC, once again, thank you very much.
The next award goes to Extreme Sports, Tom Powell, Rogue Valley TV, Ashland, Oregon.
On behalf of Tom Powell and Rogue Valley Community Television, I'd like to thank the Alliance. Tom is one of your typical Access producers. He's an offensive line coach for the football team, and as his duties as a faculty member teaches rock climbing, skydiving, and bungee jumping. Therefore, he has access to some material for extreme sports. He got the video bug a couple of years ago and loves to mix the music with the scenery and the different sports that he shoots, and I know that this really pays off for a lot of hard work in the off season for Tom, and he thanks you all very much.
The final award in this category goes to Mucha Media TV, Paul Ballard, I hope. Vancouver East Community 4 Rogers.
You said that in an upcoming production of yours, you'll be using the computer for animation. Now, is that going to be like a puppet-type animation using computer models?
Well, what I'm trying to get into now is a combination of both computer and puppetry, time-lapse photography. Because I built this robotic thing, you know, I'm trying to figure out ways of utilizing it. So computer animation, because everything, all the camera moves are already calculated in the computer, well, it's not that hard to start developing characters inside the computer and then translate all the camera moves to the motion control, so I could build miniature sets and, you know, do all my work in real space and then have the capability of enhancing it in the computer.
On behalf of Paul Billard, I thank you. Being a complete ignoramus with computers, I really appreciate this show because I'm kind of like Homer Simpson. I just don't understand that. When I first saw his show, it helped me understand. And sorry, Paul, for all the times we were competing. We worked at the same studio, and I'd see his name in the edit books, race it out, try to get time. But I really appreciate this. I like Paul's show a lot, and he's going to be very happy with this. Thanks.
I'd like to remind all of you here in the auditorium tonight that you have an opportunity to meet the award winners following the program at a reception, and we'd like to invite you to stay around and congratulate your fellow producers and swap stories about your production experiences. Our next category is entertainment performance. Entertainment and performance programs are shows that allowed you to be there, even if you weren't. There are two recipients in this category. The first one is Country Music Showcase, Scott Rawlings and Carol Willoughby, Shaw Cable Channel 10 from Calgary, Alberta.
I first became seriously involved with playing music when I was about 12 and a half. And with friends, junior high friends. And we were playing rock music. We were playing Creedence Clearwater when it was new. And it's a steady learning process ever since of playing music and writing music in the past 8 or 10 years.
Keeping in touch with family. Keeping in touch with friends.
We will gladly accept this award on their behalf. We would also like to thank the category sponsor for the entertainment and performance category, Cartwright's Music. The next recipient is Valdi's 5,000th, a retrospective by Ron Fisher of Vancouver East Community 4 in Vancouver, British Columbia.
They all don't play me rock and roll songs. Don't play me songs about freedom and joy. Play me a rock and roll song, or don't play me no song at all. Well, I got up and played some songs about...
We're back. This is a real treat because Ron happens to be our executive producer. Me and my partner Sean will be accepting an award later on. He's kind of like, he's not here, but he's kind of like Dennis Hopper was in Apocalypse Now. He's like, look, man, you know, and he's a fantastic, fantastic person. He gave freaks like me and my partner a chance, and Valdi's kind of a hippie cultural institution in Vancouver. I don't know if you guys have heard him down here. But thank you again from Van East.
Our next category is sports event. A sports event brings the cheer of the crowd right into your living room. Our first recipient that I am very proud of is the 1996 Senior Games produced by Cherie Tessier and Grace Watson from Thurston Community Television in Olympia, Washington.
Last year, the Senior Games were held for the very first time in Washington State. They were held at North Thurston High School. The guy that you just saw was Herb Larson, a good friend of mine, and I swam against him later on in the show. And I'd like to thank Samoa Village Senior Center that helped put this games on, and others, and especially Grace Watson, who did this part of the tape, and I did the fun part of it, which was the little bowling games. And I'd like to recognize one other person in that show who wasn't there. It's the 91-year-old guy who carried the torch last year, Clarence McLaughlin. And I'd like to say he was real inspiration to me.
Congratulations, you're fine. Our next recipient is the Yes TV Game of the Week, produced by Steve Vingo and Jonathan Dalton and the Yes TV sports team from Yakima, Washington.
One of the things that is going to factor into this half here is we see Jason Silv in the backfield for the first time tonight. Comes out to a slot as Johnson rolls out. Oh, and there's the reverse to Silv. This is going to be a huge play. Silv has a couple of defenders to beat. He's not going to get by all of them, but what an incredible play.
And they just about ran out of space and time there as number 3, Tony Alexander, stops a for sure touchdown for the Davis Pirates as they pulled that one off beautifully. If we have that on replay, we'd just love to see that again. And here it comes, this great YV Tech camera work. Look at this.
This is a beautiful little play. You see the rollout they've been running all night. He makes it look like it's going to be a quarterback keeper, that the play is broken, and all of a sudden there's Silv, and this is the first time Silv's been in on offense all night long. He takes it the other way for a huge gain.
Back.
We're happy to accept this on behalf of the folks from Yakima. The final recipient in this category is the OSAA State 3A Football Championship Game, produced by J.J. Wright for Capital Community Television Sports Crew. I'm sorry, I take that back. For CCTV Sports Crew, Columbia Community TV, St. Helens, Oregon.
Tigers. Edwards back to throw. Caught by Ball. Brought down enough yards for the first down. Brought down by Jason Thorson at about midfield. They're going to stop the clock to move the chains. 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the fourth quarter for the Ontario Tigers, and they're driving.
Well, Chuck, I think right now they've got to pass. I think you got to put on the blitz, and you got to put it on hard. Drop back a couple of players into prevent, but they cannot give Edwards any time right now.
I agree. He's much too dangerous to give any time to. And Peterson over to split to the right. Looks very anxious, like he might be getting the ball. Ball is up in the air for Knapp. Knocked down at the last second by Josh Sexton. One whale of a defensive play on that.
Thank you. I want to thank the Alliance. I love these conferences. I love these video contests, and it's a great opportunity to see what other accesses are doing in the area. This award is great because it validates all the blood, sweat, and tears that the volunteers and staff of CCTV, the other CCTV around here, Columbia Community Television, went through over the long football season. I have a list of people that I would like to thank: Joe and Debbie Corsilia, Jim Huffman, Todd Hilton, Chuck Duran, Chuck Purvis, Brenton Pyle, and Larry Rainey. And thank you all.
Our next category is public service announcements and promotional programs. And as we know, PSAs and promotional programs highlight the good work in our communities and bring it to our attention. The first award goes to Teachers PSA and Musicians PSA. These are 2 pieces for first place. And it's produced by Michael Matson with the University of Washington Video Production, the University of Washington in Seattle, Washington.
You'd think that after 9 exhausting months of teaching, Emma Browning would be tired of classrooms. But Emma is just one of hundreds of Northwest teachers who return each summer to the University of Washington for special programs that challenge, teach new techniques, and improve personal skills, so that teachers like Emma, in turn, can make education more meaningful to all our children. The University of Washington. Who benefits? Our community and the future.
Cool.
of Washington to benefit from its programs. For example, once a year, students as young as 11 come to University's Meany Hall to perform in the Pacific Northwest Music Festival, a one-week event sponsored by the university to help young people and their teachers improve their music. The University of Washington. Who benefits? All of us who understand the importance of quality in education.
I'd like to accept this on behalf of UWTV and Michael Madsen, who produced these, along with Tim Lorang. Thank you very much.
And the next award goes to Capital Plan Promos and Election Promos, produced by Ron Fisher with Vancouver East Neighborhood TV in Vancouver, British Columbia.
The City of Vancouver has some proposals on how we can maintain the quality of services we currently enjoy and improve in some areas that just aren't up to standard. It's called the Capital Plan, and it involves borrowing money for some items we can't pay for any other way. Like your household budget, it balances what we need with what we can afford. Mostly, it is to replace worn-out systems, like our aging sewers, some dilapidated facilities, and neighborhood deficiencies. Our parks and recreation facilities and social and cultural agencies are also part of the plan. There are some other important initiatives, but you can get all the details on the plan through this flyer. You can pick one up at your local library or community center, or check it out on our website. If you need assistance in any other language, we'd like to help. Get back to us. We need to know what you think.
Ron Fisher actually made sure that we had a van so we could take all the awards back to Van East. And when I was leaving, he said, look at, vacuum your pockets out, check the ashtrays in the car, make sure you can bring all these awards back. So we got over the border, and we're going to take this back to Ron. Thanks a lot, and thanks to Van East and the Alliance.
And the final award in this category goes to the Graffiti Abatement Project, produced by Marco Bento, Kathy Stimmick, and Jason Tate with Portland Cable Access in Portland, Oregon.
Graffiti removal costs local businesses and public agencies millions of dollars each year. The expense aside, graffiti vandalism detracts from the beauty and livability of our community. And a high prevalence of graffiti heightens the level of fear among residents, as it is often an indicator of crime and gang activity. There are ways you can help in the fight against graffiti. One easy way is to report any new graffiti sites you might see by calling the graffiti hotline at 823-4TAG. When you call, be familiar with pertinent information, such as the business name and address, and a brief description of the graffiti so that the proper agency can be contacted to begin the removal process. If you have been victimized by graffiti, there are many organizations to help you. The Northeast Coalition Graffiti Abatement Project, the Private Industry Council's Graffiti Rapid Response Team, and the AmeriCorps Members for Neighborhood Safety all provide free graffiti removal and education throughout the year.
I'll just be brief. It's just great that the communities and viewers have an opportunity to be able to see things that are happening within their community, and because of Access, we're able to put these kinds of messages out to the public. And I just wanted to thank Portland Cable Access and the people and the folks that really care about their city. Thank you.
What he said, and I just wanted to quote, this morning I was shooting with Judith Ramali from the Portland State University, and she was talking about integrity, and she said that the definition for integrity, from what she heard, was the courage to live by your convictions, and it's nice to be with so many people with integrity here. Thank you.
Our next category is inspirational programs, and these are programs that seek to elevate the spirit. And the recipient in this category is The Warrior Philosopher, produced by David Manchester, Grandmaster Jim Samuels, and Phyllis Brown with Portland Cable Access in Portland, Oregon.
Some of those reactions you don't like. Some of the ways you react, you don't like the experience of it. You feel justified in reacting that way, but you're not enjoying it. What do you do with that? You start creating some freedoms. And then you'll notice that because you actually do feel somewhat freer, no matter whether it makes sense or not, because you actually feel freer, your reactions start to change. They start to change into the reactions of a person who feels free, which would be good because that's who you are. So you don't have to modify your personality. You don't have to be false. You just have to start feeling a little more freedom, and your reactions change.
These are the people that make the production invisible to me, which allows me to communicate with my audience as easily as I do. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank my students and my audience for responding so well and inspiring me. Thank you.
This award, although it's given to the three of us, belongs to the crew and the volunteers that make everything so easy for us to do. They all know who they are, and I thank you very, very much. Thanks.
Our next category is programs produced by young people, and this is sponsored by the Portland State University Bookstore. And these are programs that bring forward the enthusiasm of youthful minds at work. The first award in this category goes to The More Things Change, produced by Kathy Edwards and Veronica Soretsky with Shaw Cable Channel 10 in Calgary, Alberta.
It had been a long day at CJ Private Investigators. First there was Mrs. Lind and her yappy little dog. Then there was Mr. Jones and the case of the stolen diamond. And then I missed my lunch. And then my robotic secretary broke down, so I had to do all my typing by hand. I had finally sat down to savor a forbidden cigarette when the buzzer rang. It was Mrs. McGraw, the blonde bombshell with legs that went on for a Digibyte. She was an itch with a capital B. Do you think anybody saw me? Of course not.
The producers were unable to travel the long distance to be with us, but we congratulate them. And the next recipient in this category is for Parenting in the 90s, produced by Matt Stone and Pat Reeves with Multnomah Community Television in Gresham, Oregon.
One of the last sensory motor stages is separation anxiety. In this, watch as the young child is subjected to his mother leaving. Watch the pain and agony he goes through.
Okay, Zach. Bye. Zach. Bye.
Okay, I think we're
okay.
Thank you. Just a couple things I want to say real quick here. First off, I would like to thank the Rebel Alliance. I think they're a great cause. All that. I'd also like to thank my buddy Pilar, who is in Guatemala right now. He's saving the enslaved trapped chickens that are trapped in the mud right now in the very rocks. And last, when we were finishing the recording of the show in the studio, there was talk of a ceasefire peace in Northern Ireland. And on that note, I'd like to wish you all a better tomorrow. Thank you.
And we'd both like to thank all our classmates and our teacher, Miss Kristen Clotter, for giving us a chance to do the project. I'd like to thank the MCTV staff for helping us out a lot. I'd like to thank Michael, Lauren, Allison, the award-winning Nari. Okay. I'd also like to thank my co-host, Fryer, who does a music television show with me called Stoner TV, we've now been going just about 3 years, and really, more than anybody here today, I'd like to thank all the fans who for 3 years have stuck with us when we've been through hell and back, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here where we are today. We entered the show in the Best Northwest contest. We didn't win. There wasn't really a category for it, but next year we'll show them who the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be is. Thank you very much.
You guys all have a good night.
Well, we're into the final stretch, so hang with us. Next category is informational. This was the largest category of entries. 23 were received in this, so these 4 awards of excellence are exactly that. These are programs forming a bridge between a documentary and a talk show. The awards of excellence goes to undergraduate computer animation, Ann Koppel, Kathy Medak, producers, UW Video Production, UW-TV Seattle.
When you have a production atmosphere, it's amazing what they will do together because people will help each other, people will brainstorm, come up with ideas. Problem solving is a lot more efficient. And I think that's probably something that at the time they didn't realize what was happening. Towards the end, when they saw what they accomplished, they were like, ah, this is what you were talking about.
Thanks. I'd like to accept this on behalf of Ann Koppel and Kathy Medak. And thank you to the students at the UW for, they're incredibly talented and they keep us busy recording all the amazing things that they're doing. One of the people featured here was worked for UW-TV briefly doing some graphic work, and she was sucked up by Pixar, so we can't use her anymore, but she's doing well now, so thank you.
Next award in informational is Girls in the Hood. Juanita Duke, Grassroots News and Gifts, Portland Cable Access, Portland, Oregon.
How do you feel, though, about all these murders in the neighborhood?
They need to straighten up and fly right.
How can they do that, though?
Go to school and leave the bad stuff alone.
Sam, why is it sad?
Some of them black on black crime.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's like black brothers killing black brothers over something stupid, over colors that have been here before their times.
How does that affect you as a young lady, though?
It ain't leaving me with no man. Somebody got to pay my bills. We need some positive black men, you know, and they need to leave all this little gang stuff alone because fast money goes fast, and if they sell drugs, they're going to lose it just as quick as they make it. Or be in jail for Measure 11. No, my boyfriend do it, but he got 30 days on the 22nd, too. And nigga on 3 years probation, so if he mess up, he really gone. They gonna Measure 11.
I'd like to thank my client and sponsor, Delaney Family of Services, as well as the GIFT program, which stands for Gang Influenced Female Team. As an independent producer, this is take 2, the one that we finally distributed on Girls in the Hood, because the initial video, the client deemed it was too controversial for public viewing. So what I had to do was be dismissive of what I wanted to project and get the girls' ideas and the visions of their world out over and above my own. So again, as an independent producer, it is a challenging and rewarding time. I mean, just look at the Oscars. Thank you.
Okay, next one, an informational Britannia Community Services Center. Producer is Giles Chin from Rogers Cablevision in Vancouver, BC.
The future holds great things for Britannia. I really believe it. I think there's room for a lot of things to happen here, as long as the citizens keep involved.
I think it's an excellent center. I think it's very good for the entire community, Britannia.
It's good. It's cool.
It's wicked. It's great. Works for me.
That's what I was doing when I started work here, riding my bike.
We should really say that Britannia waives the rules. In other words, we've been successful so many times in convincing people there was a different and a better way of doing things that we were able to do. We and everybody involved was able to achieve a great deal.
Being a member of this fantastic community center, the Britannia Community Center in East Vancouver, British Columbia, gives me extra special pleasure to receive this on behalf of Giles Chin. Thank you.
The final award of excellence in informational is Juvenile System of Clackamas County. Producer is Bob Demian from Clackamas County Government Access, Oregon City, Oregon.
Deputy Alderman with the Sheriff's Office, here with Steve Johnson.
Come on in.
For kids who've grown up learning about crime and the law from television, this introduction to reality usually has a sobering effect.
Hi, what is your name? Steve Johnson. And he's being brought in for
theft.
Okay, Steve, my name is Dale. I'm going to get some questions from you, okay?
Thanks. I'd just like to thank all the folks at Clackamas County, and particularly Susan Clark, who runs things up there and also bought dinner tonight. Thanks.
We're down to the final 2 stacks of awards here, so we're getting closer. Talk shows. This was, again, another large category. It had, I believe, 18 tapes submitted. There are 4 awards of excellence. The first one, Upon Reflection, Senator Bill Bradbury. Producers are Cynthia Halterman and Marcia Alvar from UW Video Productions, UW-TV in Seattle.
It almost sounds as though, in your view, the president is kind of trapped in amber once elected.
It's a kind of luxurious prison. You're the most powerful person in the world, but you can't go get a hamburger on your own.
But you also say that there's a kind of growth that you experienced in the Senate, for example, that can't happen in the White House, or at least hasn't happened.
I think that when a person comes to the presidency, that person is more or less fully formed, and that you are action-oriented when you're a president. It's like you have your life experiences, you have your life values, you have everything, and then you come to the presidency and it's as if you're a sponge and the office squeezes and there's very little chance for you to replenish.
Bill Bradley told us that was the best interview we had on the West Coast, so we're pretty proud of that. Special thanks to Marcia Alvar, who's so talented in being able to interview all these interesting people who come by the university. So I'd like to accept this on her behalf and on the behalf of the director, Cynthia Halterman. Thank you.
Talk shows, again, Award of Excellence to Noticias de la Comunidad Latina, Patricia Leahy, producer, Multnomah Community TV in Gresham.
Aquí en el estado de Oregon hay más hombres que mujeres infectados. Yo quiero hablar más de ese tema porque muchos dicen que hay muchas personas que son del género masculino, o vamos a decirle homosexuales, que muchos dicen que el SIDA viene de ellos, pero en realidad no es cierto eso.
No es cierto, viene de cualquier persona que tenga sexo con una persona infectada. Muchos hombres hacen sexo con otros hombres y no se consideran homosexuales. Son casados, tienen niños. Muchas mujeres hacen sexo con otras mujeres y no se consideran homosexuales o lesbianas. Cada persona es diferente, pero lo que sí sabemos es que se transmite por el acto sexual y que si usan preservativos vas a disminuir mucho el riesgo de contraer la infección.
Well, once again, I'd like to thank, first of all, the chief and commander of MCTV Community Television. She's the producer and coordinator of Noticias de la Comunidad Latina. I just wanted to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity of hosting the show. And I just want to say really briefly, you know, back home, where I came from, the Dominican Republic, we don't have community access television like this. So I used to be a professional baseball player for the California Angels, and I'm not playing anymore. Unfortunately, I hurt my shoulder, couldn't play no more, and here I am doing community television. And who knows, maybe some of your folks that are doing community television in different cities might be in Hollywood the next day. Come on there.
You know what amazes me about what we do when we talk about public education and government access, and so many times we're criticized by the mainstream media for the things that public access and some of the things that go on out there. And when you sit here and you look at these videos and you see the quality of programming that is based in community-based media, doesn't it make you proud of what we do? We ought to be proud of what we are. Absolutely. Anyway. All right, talk show number 3. Winner is Crooks and Maxim Political Crossfire. Producers are Bob Capletti, Andy Crooks, James Maxim from Shaw Cablevision in Calgary, Alberta.
No, because the standard MP,
principles that I've been
standard
talking about,
MP
Andy.
we elect, he goes to Ottawa, and his job or her job is to bring Ottawa's vision back to Calgary.
No, you've become very cynical about that. The point
I
of
have,
view.
with good
have
reason.
not. Well, yeah, because
Good
maybe
reason.
the type of people that have been elected in the future, in the past, but in the future, let's look at it. That if someone goes into that particular role, let me finish my point of view without your theory. Well, hold your theory, because it probably will not work. What I'm saying is, in the sense of
let's prejudge these things. Okay.
But in the sense of being responsible.
And we will make sure that they get their award. The final one in talk shows is Pacific Focus. Producers are Liz Engel and Herb Lewis from Rogers Cablevision in Vancouver.
You were elected as a member of the Reform Party, Western-based very strongly, what they might almost call a rump party. You've got to become national. Is this a possibility?
Well, we are a national party.
Well, you're national,
No,
but you've got to have substantial representation.
Come on,
in other parts.
you say you've got to become a national party. Now I ask you, is a conservative a national party? Conservatives have
No,
one member from...
It was.
Was?
Yes.
But it's not now.
No.
But you will find the media and others saying that the Conservatives are a national party. I'd like to know how a party have one rep in Quebec and one in New Brunswick can be considered a national party when another party with representatives from 5 provinces are not considered a national party.
I think because they have such a long history. But coming back to the Reform Party.
No, I'm not Liz Engel, and I accept this award on her behalf, and thank you to the Alliance, and thank you all. I'm going to be standing up here for another few awards, I guess.
Yeah, our next category is political programming. Political programming are shows about issues, candidates, and local elections. The first recipient is Capital Plan, produced by Ron Fisher of Vancouver East Neighborhood Television, and the perennial Vancouver recipient is waiting for it.
Is make sure that our capital funds are targeted into the right areas to make sure that we get the biggest bang for the buck, spend it in the most efficient way possible. For example, in our water system, we have a computer system that models how water flows in the city. And as new development occurs and fire demands increase or water consumption increases, we're able to identify weak links in the system by modeling our water system and finding out where the deficiencies are in terms of water pressure and water flows.
Again, on behalf of, let's see, we have Ron Fisher here again and Liz Engel again. I thank you all, and it means a lot getting this recognition and nod of approval from south of the border. A lot of times when you're producing television for the community, you think, is there anyone out there? And there is, and you know, it's kind of weird that there's a border because I feel like there really are no borders between us. We're on the Northwest Coast and we're producing the same kind of stuff, and I really appreciate it.
The second recipient in this category is Civic Choice that has already been received, so let's watch the clip.
And we're going to find out what some of the people felt today when they were caught as they were coming out of the voting booths.
Oh, yes, I did vote for the ward system. I thought that question was quite poorly done. It was a means to obfuscate the question by having a number of alternatives if you were not in favor of the present system, which kind of was unfortunate. It should have been either, are you in favor of the ward system or not?
But certainly I don't feel that the way the city is set up right now, that council really needs to listen to the neighborhoods. Certainly that's been my experience.
Well, I believe in democracy. I believe in a award system.
Well, I guess I would prefer a award system. It would simplify the ballot, that's for sure.
So you voted for it?
I voted for the mix, actually, a mix of the two.
That program was produced by Liz Engel from Rogers Community Television in Vancouver. The next category is Instructional Programming, or How To TV Award. There's one recipient in this category, and it is Clean Rivers Start Here by Marco Bento from Portland Cable Access in Portland, Oregon.
If your house is like most houses, the gutters for your roof drain rainwater through pipes which run down the side of your house and into the sewer through a standpipe. You'll be disconnecting the downspout and capping the standpipe. The first thing to do is assess the situation. Locate the downspouts that drain your gutters and decide which of them can be safely disconnected. Two things to consider are the space and slope of your lot.
I'd really like to accept this award on behalf of Melissa Mensing, who really was the lead producer on this project. But I'd also like to just thank, maybe I ought to give a hand for those technicians and engineers that are involved in Access Television that keep the cameras working, the decks running, and a lot of times we're the folks that get to shoot and edit and do all the fun stuff, but we ought to just give those guys and women also, I'm sure, a hand. So thank you.
Many of you know Betty Ammon. She is an advocate for community media and a fine librarian, has been active in the Alliance for many, many years. It is my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, who is the husband of Betty Ammon and also happens to be the chair of the Northwest Region, Randy Ammon.
It's snowing in Missoula, Montana. On the Fringe is our category, sponsored by MCAT in Missoula, Montana. Innovation, Experimentation, Alternative Creation. Two award winners, number one, Kitchen Counterculture, Ed McCurdy, Sean Carnegie, Vancouver East, Community 4 Rogers.
Food everywhere, and there's nothing left to eat. You know, it's been estimated that 10% of all solid waste is food. That's 46 billion tons a year. Hey, wait a minute, what's that work out for every man, woman, child, and his or her dog? Oh my goodness, that's 200 pounds of waste every year for people. Let's see, how much food would it take to feed everyone in North America? 8 billion pounds? Wow. Finally, Sean and I get to accept award for ourselves. I'm not going to take a long time, and I want to give Sean a chance to talk. I want to first of all thank Sean, who 2 years ago saw me as an armchair actor that was just sitting around frittering my life away, and saw that I wanted to do a cooking show that, instead of focusing on good wines and great food, on the political aspects of food and how food is a means, and in Canada, when our multi-ethnic society is a way we can communicate beyond language. This particular episode, Food Not Bombs, is about the Food Not Bombs organization. They're street kids who, through donations from the food bank and dumpster diving, feed people less fortunate than themselves. They're far less fortunate than we are, even. Ron Fisher, again, Tracy Major, and all the brothers and sisters of Ann East, and my wife, Vanessa, who accepted a few awards tonight, putting up with me sweating and twitching at night as we produced this show. It means a hell of a lot to me. I've never really won anything in my life, and I'm really happy about this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, just briefly, I'd like to thank Ron Fisher and Tracy Major, who let us do this show. We basically just walked in off the street, and they said, sure, do it. And for the Alliance for recognizing cable access. That's it. Thanks.
And the other On the Fringe winner, Helter Shelter, excuse me. Cindy CF, Roderick Hatfield, Dana Sherholtz, Fast Forward Media Lab, TCI Seattle.
I was about a week late on my period,
so I started tripping. And I was like, I could just feel it. I was like, I know I'm pregnant. I know it for a fact I'm pregnant. And the first thing I thought was, oh shit, I'm 14, I'm living on the streets, I'm on the run. I don't have any way of supporting it. But hey, I'm gonna have a baby, what's up?
And we will gladly accept on behalf of the producers. Next category, community event, coverage of a public happening. Number one winner here, 1996 Clackamas County Fair, David Biggs, Clackamas County Government Access, Oregon City.
On behalf of David Biggs, I accept this award and thank you.
Next winner in community event, City of Destiny Awards, Nancy Johnson and Frederick Yomes, TV Tacoma, Washington.
As we've seen in past years, adults don't corner the market in leadership, and this year is no exception. Shawan T. Trump, a student at Bellarmine Preparatory School, wins this year's City of Destiny Award for leadership in the youth category. You may not know it, but Bellarmine requires its students to perform community service work. For his part in that, Shawan has spent more than 200 hours at DeLong Elementary School displaying empathy, leadership, and his love for lifelong learning with Mrs. Shiogi's fourth grade students.
And we will accept on behalf of our Tacoma friends. Stampede Coverage 96 is the final winner in this category. Kirk Anderson, Scott Rawlings, Shaw Cable, Channel 10, Calgary, Alberta. And we humbly accept on behalf of those producers. Pete tells me we're on to the last stack of awards, the category Community Media Issues. Accessing Access, Olympia Seattle Access Producer Dialogue, Carol Burns, TC TV Producer Group, Thurston Community Television, Olympia, Washington.
We have to demonstrate that this is valuable to the community.
Right.
In the long run, there is a First Amendment may apply to access programming, but a city can decide they don't want access at all.
Like Redmond has.
Redmond has already
county.
looked at what's going at the way Seattle works and say, we don't need that.
Our subscribers would rather have another entertainment channel for that money.
So we are constantly aware that to survive, an access organization needs to serve the community and demonstrate its value to the community.
This was a large group effort, kind of unusual for me because I mainly do the sort of small things, but this was a large group effort with our Producers Guild that we're starting in Olympia, and with Kathy Connolly and her production colleagues at TCI in Seattle. And I thank you on behalf of all of the many people who worked on this program.
And next up is a category designed to honor public, educational, and government access organizations for their overall programming efforts. Overall excellence, budget under $300,000. UWTV, University of Washington Educational Programming, Susan Brandt, UWTV, University of Washington.
Let's now go to our first problem, which we work out in some detail, 1-5. The question now is, what is the vector representation from O to P, and what is the length of the vector OP?
I know what it is to grow old, and I've always thought 75 was a nice date. But when I'm 75, I'm going to think 85 is, I'm sure.
Well, this is the most exciting award yet. This is a lot of work has gone into UWTV. It's started in 1994, and these awards go straight up to tell the president of the university, look what educational access can do, and trying to get a lot of the what the professors and the students have to give out to the community. So we're doing a lot of work in that area, and people say to me, oh, is that the channel with the physics professor on it? So we're actually getting a cult following for physics, you know. It's great, so I'm really enjoying it. Thank you very much.
I failed to mention that this category is sponsored by TV Tacoma, who was last year's winner. The award for overall excellence, budget over $300,000, UR Community Access, Tualatin Valley Community Access.
You have probably seen the Tualatin River somewhere in Washington or Clackamas County, at least from this point of view. But did you know that instead of this, you could be doing this?
The Tualatin River Keepers is a citizen-based organization. We've tried to get citizens more involved with stewardship of the Tualatin River. So we want people to be involved with the river, to see it for the beauty and the wildlife habitat that it provides. One way to do that is to get people out on the river. Another way to do that is just to visually have that message go out. So I think cable access has been one of the vehicles to do that, also to promote people getting involved with the organization.
I'd like to accept this award on behalf of our very talented staff at TVCA and also the wonderful group of community volunteers that work with us. Thanks a lot.
In the category Cultural Diversity, celebrating and enhancing our pluralistic community. 3 winners here: Kwanzaa, Lenita Duke, and Stadford Killingworth, Grassroots News, Portland Cable Access, Portland, Oregon.
Let me just say, Lenita, we put all our efforts in people like Ron Wyden and put our eggs in the basket of some of these politicians who traditionally call themselves liberal. But those people really haven't come through for us. We should stop playing that game, letting them misuse us and abuse us and throwing us a bone. And we should look at who is really going to do something for us. People would chop my neck off if they thought I was talking down to Ron Wyden, but we got to stop making those decisions based upon historically what people are doing and really make some decisions about physically are we better off today? A question to ask you, are we better off today by supporting Ron Wyden and some of the traditional politicians? Are we better off today than we were when they were elected? I don't think so.
Whenever we have an opportunity to make some money on other videos, we save some. And this Kwanzaa award is special to us because this is a video that we sponsored ourselves. So I'm sorry you didn't get to see all those fancy computer graphics I paid for in the clip, but I want to thank my staff at Grassroots News, Sandra Johnson, my associate producer, Stanford Killingsworth, my videographer. Also, we have a person down here at CCTV that was very instrumental in the beginnings of Grassroots News. We knew her as Liz Schillinger. What's her last name now? Olmsted. I want to embarrass her by thanking her tonight and thanking the people, a few of the people at Portland Cable Access, such as Linda Hawkins and Ray. I really appreciate all the support you've given Grassroots News over the years. So thank you.
The next winner in the cultural diversity category, Discovering Our Advantage, Kathy Silcox-Nostrin, Tualatin Valley Community Access and Washington County.
If we don't teach diversity as a beginning, and I think the whole world will be pretty much trouble, because right now is everybody, I think, people is talking about different, you know. So we need to go with diversity and teach people that there is no difference with the people. And not only people, different color I'm talking about each other, blonde to blonde, you know, black to black, white to white.
Hi. I thought there was going to be more jokes tonight, but I guess I don't have one either. But I'd like to thank TVCA and Washington County, and I'm also quite proud of this award, and I'm going to put it up on my wall and not let it out of my sight. Thanks.
And the final award winner in cultural diversity, GREAT Youth Neighborhood Theater Project, Marco Bento, Portland Cable Access, Portland, Oregon.
We had most of our kids from Mexico, from the states of Sinaloa and Michoacan. Yet our director was a Cuban American, and our co-director is a Chicana. And they're wonderful people. But the changes that occurred when we began to work together were such that at first there was some doubt, and then there was final acceptance, and toward the end there was an embracing of what we were trying to do. And we did this in the context of a cultural show, a cultural talent show. And this brought out the best in our kids.
The people that really need to be thanked are those folks that really care about the youth, the gang situation. I'd like to thank Beverly Lawrence, Larry Anderson of the great program, Gang Resistance Education and Training, and Sue Busby with the Interstate Firehouse Cultural Center. This was a collaboration between the police and a theater project. And to meet kids culturally where they're most comfortably at, ethnically and socially. And I just want to thank also Kathy Stimek, Jason Tate for assisting on the project and for, again, the support of Portland Cable Access. Thank you.
Good stuff. It's my pleasure to introduce Rosa Leonardi, Capital Community TV's Community Development Coordinator.
The next category is programs that make a difference, whether you're saving the world or just your small corner. The winners, there's only one winner in this category, and they are from Capital Community TV here in Salem, and their program does make a difference. After you see their clip, you'll understand that 98% of the animals featured on their program are adopted. And the winners are Melinda Merrill and Linda Alioto.
She's a year old and she's a female. She's in our adoption kennel 27. And if you have the inclination, come down and see her. She's a joy.
Definitely do that. And she deserves a good home. So come on out and take a look at her and then take her home. This is a very humbling experience for me because the real winners are the animals adopted out because of the program. And I really want to thank the staff at CCTV for their support, their helpfulness, and their patience sometimes, and also the many producers and friends who have occasionally worked on this program. Thank you very much.
I kind of want to say thank you to my mom and my kids for freeing up some time for me to do this. And the other thing I want to say is the producers that are sitting out there, try this at home. Take this to your community, go to your local animal shelter, pitch it to them, and do it. The animals will love you for it.
It is my pleasure to be here this evening to present to Melinda Merrill and Linda Alioto the Blue Heron Award from the Humane Society of the Willamette Valley in our sincere appreciation of those animals who are now in homes and those who will be. Thank you so much. Melinda.
I'd really also like to thank Leslie, who's the adoption coordinator, for taking her time out to help with the interviews each week. And this really means a lot. Thank you.
A lot of times with an award, you can almost tell more about the giver than the receiver. And the Humane Society is made up of devoted, dedicated, awesome people. Thank you, Leslie, and thank you, Humane Society of the Willamette Valley.
We're down to the final two categories. This next one is the Northwest. We added this category about 3 years ago. It's my favorite category in the whole Best of the Northwest Awards because it's about what makes living in the Northwest, what makes the Northwest unique. There are 2 awards of excellence. This category is also sponsored by Rogue Valley Community Television in Ashland. Our first award is to Washington County Review Open Spaces. Producers are Mark Ivanish and Walt Peck from Tualatin Valley Community Access in Beaverton.
The citizens of this region have always had a love for and a need to have open spaces. That becomes an important part of an urban setting. If you get in too close or there isn't the sort of breathing space of places to go and reconnect with nature, then your urban space becomes dead. So we have a $135 million bond measure by the people to try to purchase about 6,000 acres of open spaces in the region for public trust for the future.
As a land acquisition program, the Green Spaces Initiative focuses on 3 different types of natural areas: large regional parks, regional greenways and trails, and local open space and park projects.
Thank you. I just think that what needs to be said is that environmentalism, saving trees, doesn't happen just in old growth forests. It needs to happen in our urban areas as well. Thanks a lot for the award.
Next award of excellence in the category of the Northwest is Fish Story, BC Coastal Communities Report. Producers are Deborah Ann Grave and Patricia Gallagher from Rogers Community 4 in Vancouver, BC.
Back in the old days, we could fish salmon from April until October. And then slowly that got narrowed down because instead of forthcoming for the money for the second phase of salmon enhancement and a whole bunch of other errors, they decided the easiest way to enhance fish was what they call enhancement by management. And what that means is cut back the fishing time that you give the fishermen, let more spawners on the grounds, and we'll have more fish. Cost effective, cost nothing, and looks like they're getting something done. Well, like most of their programs, that didn't allow for the rivers and creeks that were being destroyed by logging. You know, that there was no creek for the fish to go back up. And it didn't allow for the inequities in the Canadian-U.S. Salmon Treaty, where the American negotiators are super aggressive and want more and more and more of our fish that we have enhanced. So it didn't work.
I'm obviously not Deborah Angrave, but on her behalf, I thank you. And I'd just like to say it's great to be here and to notice the similarities in all our communities. And it's kind of funny being from Canada, like when Canadian producers win, say, a Genie Award, I'm sure you've never heard of that, or any other Canadian award. It's something, but unfortunately, when you get a nod from the South of some kind of approval, you really feel good about it. I don't know, we should get over this inferiority complex.